Do you often feel like you're mentally, physically, or even creatively drained at times where no matter what you do, even if despite the fact that there's the fruits of your labors being shown, that you feel so exhausted and you kind of either move on from it or just give up entirely because it's just so stressful to the point where you just don't want to deal with it anymore? Chances are you're most likely suffering from something called burnout, and trust me, my guy, that's not a pleasant thing to have. Burnout is exactly that. It's the mental, emotional, and physical distress of a person that is so prolonged to the point where it's kind of like the flames of a match. At a certain point, it just flickers because it doesn't have any more energy to burn off of, and you just don't want to do anything at that point. And to give you a perfectly good example of what burnout is, let's say, for example, you work at a corporate job. It doesn't matter what that job is. It's just a corporate job. You're in an office. You have that work environment. It could have some of the most pleasant people there is in the entire world, but despite you working 9 to 5 and doing this and doing that, at a certain point, all the stress of that job starts to build up and it starts to sort of create this spring effect where at a certain point in time, it eventually just leaps forward and pushes you on the ground and say, all right, buddy, you're way too tired. I think it's time to call it quits. That right there is prime example of what a burnout feels like, at least according to psychology today. And the crazy thing about burnout here is that it can happen to anybody, whether you're 25 years old working at a corporate job to a 35-year-old farmer. Burnout can happen to easily the best of all of us if we don't take too much care of ourselves. But the main emphasis of this video isn't just to talk about burnout and to just describe burnout for what it is, but rather to figure out ways to alleviate burnout and to make sure that you feel rejuvenated and passionate about doing the things that you do, whether it's being a lawyer or being a real estate agent or even being a creative here on YouTube. Because trust me, us creatives here massively deal with burnout on the daily. It's like our go-to grind at times. And because it's a natural process, some of these things may take quite a while to sort of alleviate. So this isn't like a one quick solution. No, it's something that requires a little bit of a consistency and a lot of introspection depending on the person that ends up watching this. Some methods may not work for you, but others may work for somebody else. But it's the idea that's there that you have something to sort of look back at in the event that you ever feel like you're burning out again. But I think that's enough that we're discussing in terms of burnout. So let's just talk about the alleviations of burnout and how these things may help you feel like that better version of yourself that was once there in the past. So the first thing about alleviating burnout is 100% being mindful. Now, I'm not saying being mindful as in the world around you. Obviously, that is a given. You should be mindful and respectful to the people that is, interacting with you on the daily. But I'm saying being mindful in the sense of yourself. Put an introspection on yourself and sort of reflect on the things that is causing you stress in the first place and allowing you to burn out so quickly in terms of the things that you're doing. If you figure out those little things that are the reason behind the burnout, then it actually makes things a lot easier to sort of remove it and over time sort of feel alleviated and a whole new person. And to give a personal example here, as a creative here on YouTube, burnout is second nature for us. At a certain point, we feel like we're really giving it our all. And even when we write that script, we write that topic, we edit it and we perform it and we do everything that we can to give you this video that you're watching right now. Sometimes we feel like we're so exhausted and stressed by either the algorithm, the view engagement, the views themselves, the comment section, everything that surrounds the idea behind this video. That's what makes us burn out, because sometimes we feel like, is this video really worth putting my time into? And if it is, are people really going to watch it? And that cycle of cynicism starts to really develop and kind of create a Dante Inferno effect where we're just going to keep spiraling downwards until we really hit rock bottom. And the way to go up is going to require some intense time and consistency to really feel like we're back at it on the grind again. But like I said, as long as you're mindful of yourself and you kind of continue to have that introspective and you kind of change the attitude of the situation a bit by changing all that negative and cynicism to something positive and rejuvenating, then it also really changes the dynamic of what that burnout is, where you should take a rest and you should be mindful of that rest and take that period of time to reflect on yourself and to reflect on the things that you can do to improve on yourself, especially physically and mentally, because burnout really loves to grab at those aspects and really drag you under the depths of hell with it. And it is important to be mindful on those aspects. So keep a healthy diet, always make sure to work out and have some good exercise, always, sleep well, stay well rested, and make sure that your body gets everything that it needs to really push the day forward without so much overexerting itself, because that is also a common cause of burnout. Overall, the idea of this video here, the lesson that I want to throw at you here is that burnout may be something scary, but it happens to the best of us, and it will happen at a certain point in our time. Look, it is common to many people out there, whether it's the workforce, even in the creatives, like I said, it is something that is eventually going to get to us. But the way that we tackle burnout is what I really want to stress here. And hopefully these tips and tricks, the idea of being mindful and truly being introspective and reducing the things that causes that stress to begin with, hopefully, we find more in that in the comments. Hopefully, more or less what to do moving forward. And there's tons and tons of tips and tricks that I'll even put in the description down below. Tons of articles that discuss this kind of stuff, because again, it happens to everybody here, and me included. Aside from all that, I hope you guys enjoy. I hope this message means very well to you all, especially if you are experiencing burnout right now, because again, it's not a pleasant thing to have. And listen, if you want to take a break, a really, really mental break, and you want to learn something new here and there, well, there are these 2 videos for you if you want to, go ahead and see more about that. I also have other channels out there if you subscribe now. I have a gaming one and plenty of other stuff for you to enjoy as well. So hope you all enjoy, stay well rested, really tackle that burnout with all your mind and passion, but be mindful of yourself, and I'll see you all with that next one, all right?